Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of The Power of Storytelling. Today we have Loren on, and she is a professional model assigned to Campbell Agency in Dallas. Today we just talk about a ton of interesting things about her life, kind of how she got started, and about the things that she is doing on the business side as well. If you guys do enjoy this conversation, make sure to follow on whatever platform you are following on. Sierra also is a Talk With Me host, so if you guys want to check out any of her stuff, make sure to follow her on her social media and check that out. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, and let's get back into the conversation. Um, the usually how I started off is we just kind of let you introduce yourself, kind of talk about what you do right now, and then kind of go from there.
All right, awesome. Well, hi, I'm Loren. I'm a female entrepreneur and professional model. I am the co founder of two businesses, Mod and Model Society. And I really just trying to sum up my story, really just try and focus on my goals each day and really, being the best version of myself and showing up every day. It's hard to build good habits, it's hard to build good routines, but just really pushing myself for my businesses, for, just showing up, being the best version I can be. So that would be my introduction story.
Sounds
Just a
good.
little bit about what I do and who I am.
Awesome, awesome. So how did you? I like to always ask this, like, how did you get into modeling? And because for people outside of the industry, like for me, I didn't realize that there was like different organizations, like modeling agencies, and how you guys got jobs. So it's really
Mhm.
interesting to hear that. So kind of how did you get into it, and how does that work?
Sure. So how I got into it, it's changed a little bit nowadays. I started when I was about 17, no, 16, and I was scouted. So by someone who trains models, and then it's kind of think of like a go see where you go and audition, and the agency see you visually. They may have you read a cold script, or they may take digitals or photos of you, so it's almost like an audition, but the person who scouted you trains you a little bit to prepare for that, because they also have a trained eye and know what agents look for. So I was scouted at a young age, and then I started, was back and forth to LA. I started in acting, and
Okay.
then I transitioned to the modeling side. So it's changed a little bit now, I would say. um, a lot of times you can just self submit to agencies. Um, I always tell people, you just, whenever you go somewhere, like, always just care about your presentation and show up as, and be professional, because you never know who you're going to run into. And a lot of times, agents or scouts are out, so you may just be working one day at the cash register in Target, and you run into somebody who's like, hey, here's my card, send me an email, I'd love you to come in and take some digital. So you could really be scouted anywhere. Today's time, there's managers, there's scouters, there's talent developers, and then there's your agencies. You have promo agencies, you have mother agencies, which is almost like a full service. They handle like every department.
Mhm.
So you just kind of do a little bit of research of, what's my best route? How much do I want to commit to this talent industry? And, when in doubt, you can always self submit. Go to Google your, top agencies in your area and submit headshots, digitals, and then they'll usually call you back if they're interested.
Nice. And then so how does it work for like them? Is it like as a business, do they like get a percentage of the money you make off of these jobs, or do you just like pay them and they get you jobs?
So it depends on your contract. If they're a mother agency, they pretty much have full control of how they want to promote you and the work that's coming in, whether you are approached just individually or if you get something through the agency. If you are in an exclusive contract, then all the work, no matter how you're approached, needs to go through your agent, because they representing you. So you wouldn't be able to just do a lot of like individual work on your own and not pay them a commission. I would say normally, the average talent, agency commission is going to be anywhere. It's always 20%, but sometimes it's 15 to 20%. Anything above that is different, but
Mhm.
I would say to expect 20% of your income to be deducted for the bookings they get you. Sometimes there's pros and cons to being a freelance model versus a agency sign model, because the agents have, reputable clients, they have those existing relationships. And then you're freelance, you're really the one going out and trying to find the work and build your own network, but you get to keep obviously the full income, if that makes
For
sense.
sure. Would you I don't know exactly your experience in it, but would you say that it's worth it to join an agency, or have you seen like a positive ROI on, joining something like that?
Sure. In my personal experience, I would say yes. I think that if somebody was like a big influencer, they already had, a really big network base, and that you're surrounded by, I guess, talent industry people, it may be in your best interest, since you already have an audience, a
Mhm.
community following, to go and do it your own and try it out, and then, be repped. A lot of times models just like to have the name of, like, oh, I'm with such and such, modeling
For sure.
agency, or I'm in Miami, and it's good to have that under your belt, just to show, that you're in demand, and you're booking and you're working. But it comes down to, like, how much experience, how comfortable are you with networking.
Hmm.
But in my opinion, I would prefer an agency, because they really do help align the work for you.
Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and get into a little bit of like your past. Like, where were you born and raised? And then just kind of how you grew up.
Okay. So I was born in Los Angeles, California, and then moved. I've lived on, like, every coast. I've lived on the East Coast, West Coast. I right now currently live in Texas. So I moved around a lot. And my dad was a VP of a company, and it required a lot of traveling.
Mhm.
So I remember just having to adapt and, try new schools out, which was a little bit challenging, but I tend to be a people person, so it worked out. But just about my childhood, um, a lot of it was my parents worked a lot. So it was me and my brother. We had nannies. We always, my parents were really all about, like, providing, the best home, being in the neighborhoods where we had the best school districts, and just really providing. But a lot of times they worked a lot. So um, just really me and my brother just kind of doing our thing, having nannies. But our family dynamic now is we're all very close.
For sure.
Both of my siblings are married, they have kids, and we really just prioritize family time and getting together. But yeah, growing up was a lot of moving, a lot of, being home alone with my brother, and but everything was good. I did enjoy my childhood, and I loved my adolescent, like, area of really getting into that young adulthood, because that's when I stepped out into modeling, and I grew so much from that experience.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people that they stay at home a lot, or they're not super in, like their parents just didn't baby them 24/7. That they seem to have a lot more like an independence to them. That's kind of how I was raised as well, and I think that's super important as when you're younger to know that you can do things on your own. So I think that's awesome. That's kind of why you see yourself grow by yourself into who you are today.
I would
Um,
with that, it did kind of force me to grow up pretty quickly. I was mainly spent time by myself alone, and yeah, I agree.
Awesome. I like to ask this too. I think it's super important to have a mentor. Did you have any mentors growing up, or did you have anyone that kind of gave you a ton of insight?
My grandmother, um, I wouldn't say like I had focused on, like, oh, this person's my mentor. I really look up to them. They're my role model. I just Somebody close to me would be my grandmother. She always such a knowledgeable.
That's my dog.
She was such a aw, so cute, such a knowledgeable person, and she really just taught me, like, life lessons, experiences, and just allowed me to put my own perspective and make my own decisions, but kind of teach me, you know, how to be aware and how to be a leader. And I think she was the one who's most influential in my life. So I'd have to say my grandmother was my role model, because she had been through so much, and she really grew as far as being an independent, strong woman, and, having to raise kids on her own. So it really just opened my eyes at a young age to kind of take after her independence and her strength.
Yeah, I think kind of getting that insight from experience is why it's so important. So I think that's awesome. Now you live here in like the Dallas area right now, right? how did you like basically make that transition over here, and how did you end up over here?
At the time, it was my dad's job. He got transferred to Texas, and I was really hoping at that, like just getting into high school, is like, oh, I hope this is the last move we'll have to do.
Mhm.
Um, but we transferred here, and then I went through college, and then I really developed I got signed here to an agency in Dallas, the Campbell Agency, and have been working with them ever since. So, I just really developed my career, as far as, like just a career path and finished school out, and I've been here since. So it was my dad's job that brought us to Dallas. I've done a lot of traveling,
Mhm.
so this is home.
Yeah, for sure. So do you travel a lot right now for like modeling? Like, do you go to LA? Do you go to these places like whenever you have a job?
More so when I was like in my young 20s, for sure. I just one of the I think there's one time where right after I graduated, I took some time to just go out to Miami and live there for about 6 months and try and get signed on my own, and which is a there's different ways to navigate the industry, but that was a route that I took. And so I worked out there. And I think that experience at 18 years old really taught me, wow, I have to learn how to budget my own finances. And I'm on my own. I don't have my parents here telling me like what to do. And I really have to, I have to pay rent. Like I have to start booking jobs and really just focus. And so from that experience, it just kind of ignited like such an interest in me, and lit a fire like, oh, I love this. I want to travel more as a model and experience these different, um, I would say, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Markets,
Mhm.
experience different for models and agencies. And so then I just started traveling, and I expressed to my agency, Campbell, like, hey, I really would love opportunity to go to LA and to get around, because, I don't have, at the time, I didn't have kids. I'm out of school. So it was kind of that time to really, enjoy that freedom.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, that's amazing. I think that getting out there and seeing the rest of the world, I like to say, and seeing different markets, kind of what you're talking about, is super important because you never know what's out there. And that's kind of why this foundation was created. Was, we want to show people what else there is to do out there in the world. It's not just, the hometown you're in, or the market that you're in right now, or the people you're around right now, but you have the ability to go out and experience life on your own. And I think that's super insightful.
I think it
Um,
also of your comfort zone, and I think that's important, especially like, in a young at a younger age, when your life's being thrown at you and you're asking yourself questions like, what do I want to do with my life, or what career path do I want to take. It's allowing yourself that you don't always know the answer, but to step out of your comfort zone, you may allow for that to come to you. And I think those traveling moments were the most memorable moments from my past. I mean, at 23 years old, I had traveled to 24 countries, so like
wow.
that's but it really, it taught me about myself and other cultures and how to respond in situations. There's just a lot of good that came from it.
Yeah, stepping out of your comfort zone is where you grow. So if you're constantly doing that, you'll change, you'll become better, you'll become a more well-rounded person. So I think that's super important and super helpful. I do like to ask this usually at the end is like if you could tell yourself something when you were a little bit younger, like what would that be? What would that piece of information be?
Ooh, that's a good question. My younger self, let's see. I think just, I know this one's used a lot, but it actually applies to me, is to stop caring what other people think and just follow your own path and practice self-care. If you can understand that at a younger age and start developing those habits, and I mean, when things get tough or you go through different experiences, you're really going to be able to kind of come back and center yourself, and just really focus on your truth and what your path is, and not what you think, or following somebody else, or really just not allowing your own identity to form, and just really focus on more so being a leader and not a follower, and really committing to, you know, not overthinking and not caring so much like, oh, did I say this right, or is this person going to want to be my friend? Like, just leave that all out of the
For
mind.
sure. Yeah, it takes up so much mental capacity worrying about all of that versus just living your life how you want to. Yeah.
And I think the other thing I would also tell my younger self is establish good daily routines, to push you towards your personal goals. Like knowing what I know now, and at my age, if I would have had that mindset, you know, younger through high school, beginning college, of just really like, hey, push towards your goals every day, build good habits, build routines. I think that would have helped set up my future a little bit better. So I'd
Yeah.
have to figure 20s.
Yeah, right. I guess it's something that we could talk about too, real quick, that I think would be super helpful. Is like if you have a couple daily routines that you do or daily habits that you do that have given you such a better like added value to your life.
Sure. One of them is waking up early and making sure that you have like a set schedule and spending like the first hour with yourself. I think a lot of times people try and avoid their inner thoughts, or they don't want to sit with them. And I think that taking time, just it's so easy to sleep in and stay in your warm bed. And honestly, I'm the type of person that could sleep until noon, but I had to break that habit of waking up, just starting 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay, let's try 7:30. Okay, let's try 7, and let's just push myself to have this set schedule where I can wake up while the world is calm, your phone's not ringing yet. You don't have to clock in for work, and you're just sitting with your thoughts, whether you want to meditate, whether you want to stretch, whether you want to have reading time or just your cup of coffee. Just allow yourself to have that calmness before your day starts, because when that happens, that's when it's pull here, it's tug here, all thrown at you, and you're just trying to, keep treading water to get through the day. And then you come home and you're like, oh, I'm so exhausted. But setting that time in the morning, allowing you to focus on your intention for the day and allow you just really quiet the mind. It's helped me so much in building a good habit for tackling on things that may be thrown, and putting, throw my way, but also putting myself in the right mindset of like finding solutions, and being positive, and always seeing, a situation with the glass half full versus half empty, and just really trying to, work on the mindset. I think that is a huge thing we need to do every day. But waking up early, spending time with myself, and just sticking to and trying to write down a few goals that you want to get done for the day, and making sure you achieve those no matter how little or how big. One that I'm working on right now is working out. Just really kind of keeping my energy level up and staying committed to hitting the gym, and working out and stretching. And that's really helped me just kind of pump some energy up.
For sure. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how much like working out boosts your energy levels. A lot of people think of working out and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna be dead tired the rest of the day. But that's typically your
Possibly.
over. Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Do you have anything else that you would like to say before we end it? I mean, I know we're pretty close to the end mark.
Yeah. I think that I would just like really focus. If I could give any advice, it'd be just really to trust your inner voice, and to build, awareness of listening to your instinct. I think that, we always have that as humans. And so it's just good to be in tune to that. So we have that instinct, we have the, that gut feeling, and just trust it. Other than that, you can follow me personally on Sierra Loren, my Instagram. I'm a professional model, and model coach. So I do posing, and we teach techniques on facial expressions, building confidence within your own skin and on camera. And then my business is Mod Creatives. We're a digital marketing company. So, you know, social media management, content creation, definitely look us up. And thanks for having me today,
Awesome.
Austin.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
I'll see you later.